I'm back with another Soul Lane guide. Today we're going to be doing a Soul Lane tier list. Haven't done one of these in a little while, but this video should be coming out on Monday, which is a day before the new patch. Lots of things are getting changed in the new patch, and I've done enough scrims and done enough theory crafting to feel like I have enough of a sample size to have enough data and research to kind of support my opinions going into this new patch. So I kind of want to show you guys what I think are the better gods going into the new patch and the worst gods. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing today. I have done quite a few top 5 videos recently showing you guys the builds. I've gone in depth with a lot of different characters that I've been having fun with in ranked and characters that I think are really good. So this video isn't going to be too in-depth for every god. I just kind of want to show you guys a brief overview of what I think is best right now, what you guys should be playing, and maybe stuff that you should avoid. So we'll go over a little bit in depth with each god, but for the most part, let's just see where everything's going to be sitting at. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. I have a tier list for the Atlas patch, so every god in the game, including Atlas, is here with their card arts. Of course, I'm not going to put every god into this tier list because most gods are not viable in solo. We really want to talk about, you know, the meat and potatoes of the Soul Lane, so we're going to leave out, like, I'm not going to put Agni or Amuz and Cobb or even Aposh in there, even though Aposh can sometimes be played there. I shouldn't even say that. We're gonna have so many comments and be like, oh my god, Aposh feeding in my ranked games. This is your fault, Fineokay. I hate you. So yeah, we're just gonna be talking about the main gods. And like always with all my tier lists, what I say is 100% authority, and I'm never wrong. You guys are always wrong. That's what I always say with these videos. So yeah, let's start off with Achilles. What a great god to start out at, because I believe this god is very good right now, just like he was last year, possibly even S. I think he's teetering between A+ and S. I'll put him in A+ because I think the build path is just a little bit awkward. He doesn't have the strongest build path ever, but I like this character a lot. Good with Bluestone, still good with Axe, can even make Sigil work because he has Sustain in his kit. His character is very versatile. Basically, he doesn't lose any single lane in the game, so very strong. And if you're a good Achilles player with the new build that I've been showing people with Shifter's Glad Shield, it's a very strong build, and you do a lot of damage in the mid game. Very easy to carry, and definitely very good right now. And no longer really has to worry about these auto attack warriors, and I'll explain why. Moving on to Amma. Amma was in S. Now she's going to be in A. Berserker's changes are very, very big for the Soul Lane. They change a lot. Even though the item seems pretty good, in theory, in practice, it's really not that great. It is a huge down step, I guess, from the current Berserkers or the Berserkers from last patch, if you're watching this on the new patch. The lack of percent pen, the lack of damage on the passive, the item does not really do much damage anymore. And the strength of this item on these auto attack characters like Amma and Bellona was that these characters already have a lot of pressure. So if you sit there and auto attack the enemy Soul Laner and fight them, and people come to your lane and you fight them, you just do so much damage you can kill people. Now, not so much. You're going to be a little bit tankier, of course, with the item, but you know, for a while now, that's not really what tanks have been about. You know, you want to be like Bruiser and actually be able to threaten people when you're attacking them. So yeah, I do think that the Berserker's changes are pretty bad for auto attackers in general, which means Amma is going to fall off a little bit, but she's still strong, still decent. Can use you know, Shogun's builds on her. Toxic Blade is even nice. Cat Shield still a really strong item, so still a viable character, but definitely lower on the totem pole. All these characters aren't really viable. Afro you can maybe play in solo, but she's a very, very situational character. Gets punished very easily. Anti-heal is very strong right now. Healing isn't even that strong right now, so this character will probably be in C, but she's been viable in past metas, so we'll throw her in there. Ares also viable in past metas, but is extremely niche. Is only really a counter pick into certain characters like maybe Arthur or Tyr. The opposite of that is a character you can also play into Arthur and Tyr, which is much better and isn't like Ares, that she doesn't get countered really at all, is Artio. Artio is still in S tier. She is probably one of the best characters in the game. Just full stop in every role. Not that you would play her in every role, but, you know, just if you consider all the roles, Artio solo is one of the top picks in my opinion. Can't lose any lane. Build path is really strong. Getting better next patch because they're buffing Jade Emperor's Crown. Jade Emperor's Crown is going to be an amazing item next patch, or this patch, whatever you're watching on. Absolutely insane, so try and fit that in your builds. Binding got buff, which is an item for her. Voidstone got buff, which is an item for her. They're buffing all of her items, not really nerfing her at all. Was a top pick at Worlds. Nothing's really changing. This character is busted. Win every lane with her. Get pressure with her. And if you just build tanky enough, you'll be strong late game. You know, maybe you'll feel like you'll be a little bit less useful on some characters, but I promise you, you're just not playing the character enough. You can do work late game even on this character. She does not file off that hard. Athena's been viable in past metas. I'll actually throw her in B because I think Teleport's really strong on her right now. You can kind of get around the map and be useful and impact the entire map even in the early game, which you can't often do on some characters. So I'll put her in B, but, you know, for the most part, doesn't have pressure, does not fight well in the 1v1, which is very important right now, and you know, just lacks that same consistency that some other characters have. Atlas, I actually am going to throw into A. I really like this character. If you get really, really good with his auto attack cancels and his full kit, you can do a surprising amount of damage. You can solo backliners, especially if you build a little extra damage on him. I think his scaling is actually kind of busted. It's not really balanced around a guardian, more balanced towards a mage for some reason. So you could do a lot of damage if you go a little bit more bruiser, even full damage. Not that I'm recommending that, but yeah, Atlas, a very strong character, and I think he's just kind of, in this A spot. I think he's maybe a little bit more viable in support. He does have some bad matchups in solo, but you can kind of survive every lane right now with the build path because Vamp Shroud is so strong. Especially if you're against a physical, you just go Vamp Shroud, Celestial Breastplate. Like, you're just going to win every lane with that. So definitely a viable character. Moving on. Maybe these characters have been viable in the past, but definitely not anywhere near viable right now. Baron, I'll throw in B. Baron's a decent mage solo right now. Mage solos aren't in the best spot ever. He sits with his backline, so he's not like that, traditional soul lane that you want to have. It's going to be diving and being a nuisance, going on their backline, being full tank. You want to build him a little bit more bruiser. He's more of a counter pick, like always. I always recommend if you want to play Baron, play it into Osiris, play it into Zhang Kui if they're playing a Zhang Kui. Characters like that aren't going to get out of your route and aren't going to get out of your ult. You can even play Baron solo into like an Osiris jungle if they're going to be playing that, because you'll counter him in the mid to late game team fights as well. So that's something to consider. But again, not a lot of pressure. Really hard for mages to proxy and rotate. Really hard for mages to just clear the lane and rotate, which is definitely something you want to be doing right now. Bastet I'll also throw in here. I think she got a little bit worse going into this year with the changes to the soul lane, changes to Axe, changes to Blackthorn. Blackthorn was a perfect first item for her. You don't really go that anymore, although it is getting buffed going into this patch, so it's definitely something you consider. I actually throw her into A just because she has such a busted kit. I mean, they need to nerf her in every aspect of the game, not just in solo lane, not just in jungle. A very strong character. Did get a little bit of nerfs, but still definitely very strong. Her passive is just so insane for solo because you heal so much. Moving on, Bellona, I was going to have her in probably A+, maybe S with Berserkers, but definitely taking a big fall because of that. Maybe even B now. Just has so many bad matchups now. The Berserkers is not going to be what it used to. And there's just so many. Achilles is good into her. Artio is good into her. Actually, Artio is not that great into her, but it's going to be a lot better now that Berserkers is worse. Just a bunch of these characters that can interrupt her too, that aren't really threatened by her. I think she's just really not that great of a pick. I guess you can consider her A, but I do think these Berserkers changes are going to take big hits to these auto attack characters. Character that's not going to take a big hit is Cabrakan. Cabrakan's very good right now. I'll throw him in S, or not S, but A+. Very, very strong. Good with the build path. Like I said, Vamp Shroud is his best starter item. Go Celestial Breastplate if you're against a physical. Just go into that Voidstone Breastplate. If you're against a magical, you just are a very, very strong character. Late game, you don't fall off. In fact, even late game, especially into the right characters, you can blink onto people, full kit them, and just one-shot them. And if they can't get out of your wall, even better. So yeah, definitely a very strong character right now. It does not lose any lane. Tremors gets you pressure every single wave unless they can interrupt it. So just be careful of those certain matchups where they're going to be interrupting it, like Achilles or like an Amma or something with the silence. Another character very strong right now is Camazotz. I actually might even consider throwing Camazotz in S as well. Camazotz is he was really good last year. He's still really good. He's still good with Axe. I built Axe on him still, and it's very strong. You can go a lot of first items on him. You can go Runeforge. You can go Blackthorn. You can go straight into your Transcendence, into your Cad Shield. Either way, you are going to be a very, very strong character. Late game, he's one of the few characters in solo that if you just blink on somebody and hit your buttons, you will kill them. You always feel impactful in a team fight as long as you hit your buttons, which is something that maybe some other characters can't always say. They don't really have the damage for it or don't really have the build path to do that. So, yeah, Camazotz is pretty strong. I like him a lot, so get comfortable on him. Cerberus, I'm going to throw into A. More of a counter pick. He's good into like the Camazotz. He's good into Artio. He's a very good pick into Artio because you can stalemate the lane and not get out pressured and, have that anti-heal for her and still be kind of useful in the fights. Again, Artio's still going to have pressure for the fights. If you ever rotate in the jungle, Artio's just going to be a lot more impactful in that early game, but still a good counter pick. It's really hard for a Cerberus to lose lane, and the build path is very strong for him, like it is for every other Guardian. Chalk, I'll throw into A as well. Some people might consider him A+. Another character that's really hard to lose lane on, has a lot of different build paths that you can go. You can go the really tanky route, or you can go that Transcendence route where you go like Transcendence, Runeforge, Cad Shield, and even more damage and just kind of one-shot people while still being very hard to kill and heal a lot. So it's really up to you, your playstyle. I think this character is pretty good though, and I'll throw him in A. I won't throw him any higher because I do think he falls off late game, and I think you have to have like a perfect team around him to really, I wouldn't say a perfect team. You can do work in team fights, don't get me wrong. But I think he falls off pretty hard, and you want to have a jungler that's actually diving with you for your initiations. Cleo, I'm going to throw in here as well, and some people might disagree with me, but I actually think Cleo is around A+. This character is insane. She is so easy to get out of the early game. Once you hit level 5, you start ulting every wave. If you have a bad matchup, I don't think Cleo really has any bad matchups because she can always go into the wall. She can always just ult the wave and walk away. If you go that Soul Eater Glad Shield, or not Glad Shield, Soul Eater Breastplate, Genji's Cad Shield build, or Soul Eater Genji's Breastplate if you're against a magical, You're good in every single lane, in every single team fight. Very, very strong character. Very hard to deal with for enemy backlines because you can always go into the wall. You have short cooldowns. You have 4 damaging abilities, 5 damaging abilities for all intents and purposes, like a turtle. I don't know. Okay, anyway. Yeah, this character is very strong. I would throw her an A+. If you don't think she's A+, that means you probably haven't played her enough and don't know how strong she can be in the right hands. Cthulhu, I'll throw into A as well. I think he's getting a little bit better. The buff to his 1 in this patch, in this next patch, is really, really good. 300 base damage on that bad boy. That's a very strong ability. It's going to help him trade in lane, help him get out of the lane, help him PvE, which is really important for Cthulhu because you just want to get out of that lane and come to these team fights where you're an absolute menace. You're an absolute monster, literally, because you are a monster that runs around and kills people. So yeah, I think he's really good. He's also good into some of these characters like Artio. He's decent into like these matchups like Cabrakan and some of these other characters, auto attack characters. So yeah, I'll say that. Still want to go blink thorns on him. That's what you go every single game, except I don't really even upgrade my thorns in most games. So yeah, something to think about. Cuchulainn, unfortunately, Cuchulainn is not that great right now. I'm going to throw him into B. I do think with the build path, the Shifter's Glad Shield, I have to mess around with it more, especially on this new patch. Maybe one of the characters I haven't gotten a big enough sample size on because he did get buffed. But for now, I'm going to throw him in B, maybe teetering towards A. Shifter's Glad Shield with Bluestone is a pretty strong build path, so I do want to mess around with that more, like I said. But he's still, 100-second cooldown on the ult, and all it does is a little bit of damage and a tiny knock-up. Like, it's rough. I did recommend that they nerf his ult back when they needed to nerf him because that was something that you relied on to get rage in lane. You just ulted on cooldown so you can get rage and get pressure. So yeah, that is maybe my bad, but either way, he's just really not that strong right now. It doesn't really do enough damage. Although I think that might change with the build path. Moving on, Erlang. I think Erlang was actually in a pretty good spot, maybe even A+ with the Berserkers, but that just goes for any auto attack character with that build or with that item. I think he's going back down to C, maybe even B. So yeah, I would say that he's no longer in that spot just because you're not threatening with your damage anymore. With Berserkers, you definitely were. Now you're not. So yeah. Erlang back to C, still just a jungler, although I think that may change in the future. Wink, wink. Moving on, none of these characters are really viable. Fenrir, I guess you could say is viable, but that's just more of like a comfort pick for some people, and I'll just throw him in C. Don't really need to explain that. Gab, another character that was maybe viable in the past, but does not get enough pressure. Doesn't really do much anymore, unless you get to late game and get to that Boombas. But like I always talk about, it's really even hard to get to your starter item upgrades, your relic upgrades, and all that. Gilgamesh, I'm going to throw into B. This character is really hard to clear the wave with, so if you're against any good player playing any of these other characters that kind of insta-clear the wave and have fight pressure, it's going to be hard for you to fight into them. You're going to get your blue buffs invaded as Gilgamesh if your jungler isn't always there, if you're playing against good players, and it's just really hard for him to get out of that laning phase. He is a strong team fighter, but the problem is I wouldn't recommend really playing this guy in solo because he's just going to get nerfed more and more because he's still going to be very, very good in the jungle in this new patch, so Hi-Rez is going to nerf him even more, and then it's just going to ruin it even more for us solo laners, so I don't recommend playing this guy anymore. Although he is fun, of course. Guan Yu, I think, is very, very strong. I would say he's about A+. The problem with Guan Yu is that you can't play him into every single matchup, especially these matchups where they can interrupt your 3, but you can always max your 2, and I think this character is very, very strong right now. In a meta where like auto attack warriors aren't going to be as strong, and people are looking for like some picks to play with starter items that they feel comfortable with, Bluestone Guan is very, very strong, and I recommend that you guys play him in your ranked games because he has healing, which is very hard to deal with in most levels of ranked. In fact, all levels are ranked, so a little bit different than something like Afro because he's actually a tank and can actually proxy, can actually rotate, initiate fights. So even though healing isn't that great in general, it's a lot better on a character that can survive forever. Hades we'll throw in here as well. I think Hades is actually not too bad. I have an invite, even though I didn't even know I had Smite open. I wonder who invited me. No problem. We'll go ahead and ignore that, whoever you are. So yeah. You throw Hades in B, another character that can get pressure in all lanes, but he kind of just falls off, and it's about what you do with that pressure. Hades is one of these characters that insta-clears the wave and feels really oppressive, and then all of a sudden you fight one time in the jungle, and you're like, oh, well, he really didn't do that much. Like, his autos maybe hit me for like 40, whereas an Achilles auto canceling on me, every auto hit me for like 130, and he just one-shot me. Like, that's just something that you have to realize about Hades is that he doesn't have that fight pressure like all these other characters that are much stronger. If you just fight a Hades between waves, like if you don't fight a Hades in the wave and you just fight him between the waves or in the jungle where he's not getting a lot of value out of all the minions, then he feels like a really bad character. So once you play against good players, that's just what you have to do. Hercules, pretty bad right now as well. I'm going to throw him in a B. looking at all these other characters, I'll put Blown Up into A. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'll make a little quick reposition. So maybe some people are already, I bet you people are already complaining about that. But I promise you, I think Blown's fallen off really hard going in this patch. Hercules, another character that fell off really hard going into this season. It was just, you know, the build path got worse for him. Axe was really strong on him. You can't really go that anymore. You know, it's just, I think you can go Bluestone on this character, but it's just really not worth going picking this character in today's day and age. I think all these other characters are stronger than him. They also kind of win the lane against him now because he doesn't get as much value out of that axe and trading in lane. You can go Boost on him, and I'm sure it would do fine. And especially if you're like a comfort pick Hercules, then, you know, keep doing your thing. But I wouldn't recommend if you're like trying to climb the ranks right now. I'd recommend these other gods for the time being. Moving on, Horus isn't really viable, and so you could play him there, but, you know, I'm going to throw him in C if I do that. Jorm, I'll throw Jorm in B, maybe A. Gets pressure in basically every single lane. Gilded Arrow build is really strong on him. Gilded Arrow plus tier 1 Celestial, which is a strong build path, good item. And you can go more of a bruiser route and kind of one-shot people with your damage while still being pretty hard to kill. But he still has that problem. He's a big target. If they have like a Fafnir, he stuns you and everyone hunts you down, it's going to be really easy to kill you. One strength of this character is that you can go TP because you don't really need beads a lot of the games, just because you have all that knockup immunity and that displacement immunity from like a Fenrir and stuff like that. So that's something to consider, like a TP with like a you know, whatever second relic you really want. Sometimes even Aegis if they're going to try and all in you. So yeah, I would say Jorm's actually pretty decent with the build path and good in a lot of lanes with the build path and the pressure that he provides. But, you know, he's still Jorm at the end of the day. So pretty easy to play around. King Arthur, who has fallen off very, very hard as well. Notice that Cuchulainn and King Arthur are basically in the same tier in B. Doesn't really have a great build path. People go Runeforge on him. I've tried it a bunch. Not a huge fan of it. Doesn't feel that great. Sovereignty is probably your best option, Runeforge Sovereignty, and that feels okay. You definitely are tanky, but you're not the King Arthur of the past where you one-shot people in the mid to late game and just kind of carry team fights. Can't really do that anymore, even if Bluestone's pretty strong. Yeah, I just think this character's fallen off quite a bit from a lot of nerfs. And the one thing about King Arthur that always feels bad that is that if you ever die in a late game fight, you basically permanently lose your charge because you're going to come out of base with 0% charge. You're going to need to walk to a team fight instantly because your team's waiting on you, you know. This is like 25 minutes into the game. You can't go to a lane to start hitting some minions to get your charge. You can't go and like walk at the enemy solo laner and start hitting him, which gives you a lot of charge because that's just not happening. It's going to be a 5v5 at Fire Giant or some important objective. You're going to be staring at each other and you're going to be sitting there with 0% charge and you're going to feel really bad. So that's why King Arthur feels bad a lot of the time. If I were to buff him right now, King Arthur, I would make it so that you don't lose 100% of your charge whenever you die, or make it easier to get your charge back late game somehow, some way, you know. Maybe when you get more points in your ult or something, you know. So moving on, Goomba and Kuzenbo, maybe viable in the past, but not recommended. I would probably throw them in C as well. Don't really need to explain that. Loki, maybe I'll throw them there. I'll throw him in B. One value of Loki is that he has probably the highest level 2 wave clear in the game. You just insta clear. If you hit the enemy soul laner with your decoy and then group with the wave and then 3 it, then you'll actually one-shot it if you have Bluestone. So that is a nice thing about him. And then you'll hit level 3, which can give you a lot of kills in a lot of your ranked games because people won't be expecting you to hit level 3 so fast. You can just grab your one, slow them, hit them, kind of just kill them, you know. So that's one value, but not a traditional take. Have to build pretty boozer on him and is not going to be nearly as potent as a lot of these initiators that are going to absorb a lot of damage and be an absolute nuisance to you. Moving on. We have Nike. I'll also throw Nike in A. I thought that Nike was going to be more of a stronger pick going into this year, but the nerfs to her have been pretty rough. You know, Sunder is still really strong. Actually, Sunder's really good right now with the different the Sundering Siphon 9000 sucker. You know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. That's really strong. You can build that into her. She does have a lot of different build paths you can go. She can go with Bluestone, go with Axe, go with Sigil, go with basically everything. Can make everything work because she has such good wave clear and is a very safe pick. But yeah, I'd say that she's just maybe a little bit worse than a lot of these characters, and a lot of these characters have decent matchups into her. So moving on, Odin has fallen from grace as well. All the nerfs hurt him really bad. The fact that Shell now has a Phantom Shell on it, so carries can go that. So the reason you pick Odin before is you can hard screw the carries who can't get out of your cage. You can dive them and be, really good at locking them down and just killing them, maybe even on your own. The fact that you can't even really do that anymore, because if you're playing against good character or good players and they go Shell and then they just go Phantom Shell against you, then you don't even really get much value out of your cage. The cooldowns are rough now on Odin. I'd say that he's fallen off really hard and maybe not too worth to play. I think I maybe skipped somebody here. Oh, it was Mulan, another character that's fallen off really hard. This character is, for some reason, I see people on Reddit complaining about her all the time, and maybe some people think that she's even gotten better going into this year. That is such a false statement. I think they're just getting stomped because they're noob, but I think Mulan's gotten a lot worse this year. Last year, you could build like Axe. You could, fight for lane pressure, and it would be very, very valuable. And Mulan had a really clear build path to go and all that. I think the best build path for her right now is maybe like Soul Eater, Breastplate, Genji's Gad Shield, which is kind of what I go on some of these other characters. But yeah, I think that she's fallen off quite hard. Although I will say that the fact that they're fixing the fact that you can't hit some walls for some reason, sometimes when you'll 3 a wall as Mulan, it'll hit it and you'll know that you're in range, but it just won't activate. It won't pull you to the wall. That's a really big deal on this character. So maybe with the fact that they're fixing that, hopefully fixing DM, I'll throw her an A. But yeah. She is the ultimate win lane, lose game character, because if your team isn't following up on you in team fights, you're going to get killed really easily when you're diving. And she is an absolute menace when it comes to the lane. But if you're a good player and you're playing against a Mulan, all good players know that you just got to survive that early laning phase, and then she's going to fall off, and you're just going to try and be more of a nuisance in the team fights than she will be. Moving on to Osiris. I'll throw Osiris in A+ as well. Very good character in basically every meta, just because he has so much going for him. He's very tanky because of his passive. He always has the wave clear because he has short cooldowns on his 1 and his 2. He has the AoE autos. Build Death Soul, you could build Bluestone. I actually think Bluestone's not too bad on him. Axe is still viable on him. Only thing I probably wouldn't go is Sigil, just because you have no sustain in your kit, so you probably want a sustainer starter item. So yeah, very strong character, basically strong in every single meta. So nothing wrong with him. I wouldn't go the build now. I probably wouldn't be going Death Soul Berserkers on him anymore, and probably go something like Bluestone, more ability based, because of the nerfs, but really up to you what you're comfortable with. Pele, I like Pele. I'll throw Pele in B, maybe C. I mean, she's just a comfort pick for me. I like her a lot. She's really good at diving, really good with the Cad Shield build, or Soul Eater Cad Shield build, except on this character, I wouldn't go the Breastplate route. I'd go probably like Shifters or something, because I think you need more damage on her to be threatening. So I'd probably go like C. She doesn't have like a lot of CC like these other characters where you build Breastplate and you're just threatening with your CC and initiation. But yeah, I like this character a lot. For me personally, I'd throw her in B. If you get comfortable with her, I do think she's quite potent. But yeah, I'll throw Pele in B. Wukong, another really strong character right now in my opinion, has a very clear build path, not getting nerfed, not really getting changed going into this patch. So you don't really have to worry too much. You can kind of always pick this character, do well in every single lane, survive every single team fight because you're so slippery. I personally, like I said, really like the Soul Eater Breastplate Genji's Cad Shield build on him. And if you want, go a little bit more damage late game. Go whatever build you want. Some people like to go more damage route where they go Soul Eater into like a Glad Shield or like a Shifter Shield straight into that Cad Shield. And that's also viable. That's definitely something you can consider. I just really like that slippery, tanky, yet healing, yet powerful build. It's got everything in it, okay? It's got everything. So yeah, that's some Wukong at A+. I'm really lost where I am completely, but we'll just pick it up at set. Everything else before it, I mean, not really that viable. Set, not really in that great of a spot either. I'll throw him in B. I think the starter items have been rough for him, because I think the best starter item for him was Axe, and that's also a little bit worse now. Definitely still viable. I think Axe may be a little bit underrated, but it's definitely not nearly what it used to be. Anti-heal is really strong. Berserkers was a great item for him. That's getting changed. So that helps, or that makes him a lot worse. So yeah, I just think this character doesn't really have a clear build path right now with the items, and a lot of these other characters are basically just better versions of him. For example, Kama and Cleo are just better versions of Set, and they don't lose lane, and they are more menacing in the team fights, and they don't get as countered by anti-heal because they can get out of combat a lot easier than a Set can. So yeah, so that's basically just a worse version of Kama and Cleo. So if you want to play a character like that, just play one of those two. Moving on to Sobek. Sobek's one of these characters that's always viable in the solo. I'll even throw him in A. I think he's stronger than these characters because these characters can easily lose lane right now and easily not be as impactful in team fights. Sobek can literally always stalemate the lane and can literally always be impactful in team fights because he has so much CC and he can do so many different things like anti-heal, dive the backline with a lot of damage from his ult and all that. So I would throw him in A. Just one of these ever-present characters in metas because he just can't lose lane and he basically can just sit there and chill. And a lot of times in your ranked games, the best thing you can do is just not feed, and then maybe your team will win the game. So if you're starting to get in those games where you're off-rolled to soul lane and you don't know what to do, just play Sobek, go Vamp Shroud, sit there and 3 the wave, and be tanky as hell and be very, very hard to kill and very, very hard to gank. Sylvanas and Terra may be viable in pass, but like, you know, not really that viable in solo. I'd probably throw them in C right now, especially Terra. Terra is getting very, very, very hard countered by Kurstonk in its current state. Thor I'll throw in there. I mean, he's been viable in solo for quite some time, but definitely like a B tier character right now. Again, if you just want to play one of these characters, these loosey-goosey assassins, just play one of these better characters that have sustain and everything going for them and all this damage that you don't really have to rely on hitting your skill shots like you do as Thor. You know, if you're a really good Thor player and you can everything, this character can shoot up to like A or A+, but for the most part, he's just a little too inconsistent. The nerf to his ult was really tragic for him. It's so easy to hear his ult now and hear when he's coming in, so it's very easy to play around. For some reason, why am I getting repeats? Why do I see all these characters I already put in here? Oh goodness. Oh, is that because is that all the characters in the game? No way. Oh, is it because I'm already getting close to the end? I guess I'm getting close to the end. I don't know. I guess that's what it is. Sometimes my tier lists usually take like 3 hours. We're kind of speed running with it, this one with any percentage. So I'll throw Rat in here as well. Definitely a character that's been viable as well. Just another example of an assassin that's hard to get out of the lane with. The value is there if you get out of the lane. I think Ratatasker late game is one of the strongest frontliners in the entire game with the right build path. And I'm not saying that as a joke. I actually really do believe that. Maybe the strongest character in the game with Boomba's late game and a full tank build with a gray acorn, but it's just hard to get there. And, you know, ranked games end in 15, 20, sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes, you know, your team gives up before the game has even started, really. So it's just not as realistic to get to those points of the game. But if you are experiencing a lot of late ranked games, then you can consider going Rat and getting to that late stage. And you can get there right now if you go TP beads, and if they don't have a lot of CC, go TP Blink, and that's something you can definitely consider because TP helps you get to that late game build a lot faster. But yeah, that's personally where I would throw Ratatasker. I don't know why these gods are just like repeating, but anyway, it's a little bit confusing. So yeah, that's basically it. I think the last one we want to talk about is Zhang. I mean, Xingtian and Ymir, maybe viable guardians in the past. Oh, Tyr and Tsukuyomi, we definitely want to talk about. Oh, and Vamana. Okay, I missed a few there. Okay, Tsukuyomi, very strong character right now, I think. I think Tsukuyomi is around A. Pretty strong laner, good with a bunch of different build paths, good with Bluestone, good with Axe because he can poke. Even decent with like a Sigil because he has sustain in his kit and can kind of just clear the way from a distance. Is also good in the team fights, can all in. I'd say that he's a better version of like Pele and Set because he can poke from a distance with all of his different abilities. He's a lot safer. Actually, I wouldn't say he's a lot safer than these characters. He is very easy to gank. But you can kind of just keep your distance, stay towards your tower line because you can wave clear from so far away and poke the wave from so far away and never miss out on XP or gold. So you can kind of stay safe that way. And is just good with the build pass right now. I think he's good with Runeforge, which is a decent item, even though it's getting nerfed in this patch. It'll still be okay. He can go different items. He can go like that damage route with like a Shifters and a Glad Shield, or go like a Blackthorn since that's getting a bit of a buff. He can just build a lot of different things. So whenever you have a character that just has a lot of variety in their builds or a lot of flexibility, that's always good for metas, especially metas that are changing constantly because of lots of different changes to the patches. Tyr, this character, man. Tyr is just one of these characters that if you really wanted to play Tyr every single game, you could play him and you do okay in every single game just because he can't lose lane because he has so much healing in his blue stance. But I just think that you can be so much more impactful on all these other gods. Yeah, sometimes you can do like what I said on Sobek, where just play a default character that's really hard to lose lane and you'll probably win a game. But I'm not going to sit here and recommend that to you. If you're really trying to get better at soul lane, play these characters that can literally hard carry games, like Camazotz, like Achilles, like Cleo, Guan, like characters like this where you can, if you just get really strong at these picks and in this role, then you're going to single-handedly carry your games. You know, Tyr can sometimes do that in the right scenarios, but it's very niche, and you know, he gets countered by a lot of different stuff, especially cripples. Which, hey, would you look at that? The best character in solo right now happens to be a crippling character. Vamana. You guys want to know what I think about Vamana? S tier. Until 15 minutes in the game when they buy a Kurstonk. Then guess where you go? C tier. This character is so, he's just so extreme. He feels so dominant and so insanely strong for 15 minutes. And like I said, most ranked games do end in 15 minutes, so that's something you definitely can consider. But the thing about Vamana is that he's not one of these characters that's going to be dominating his lane so much that's giving you so much pressure to win the game off of like playing off the solo lane. Like if your jungler comes over, it's not like Vamana is going to set up a gank better than like an Artio or Achilles or Cabrakan will. He's just not. So he does feel strong just by running around and farming, but that's all he does. He doesn't have as much of an impact as these other characters that it's going to actually like impact winning the game. But he does feel really strong throughout those times. And if they don't go Curse Tonk, you do feel really strong late game. But they're so wrong if they don't go a Curse Tonk. They're just noobs, and then you're just stomping noobs, and you could play any character in the game and you'd be stomping them basically. So yeah, this character is just he's so extreme. Like I said, he feels very, very strong for most of the game around here, but once they get that Curse Tonk, it just feels really bad. And once they get all their brawlers and their divines and everything like that. So yeah. And I believe we have Zhang Kui, and I believe that is it. Let me just make sure. Just go through real quick. I think that's it. Hopefully this is every god in the game that they've put on this list, and that I'm not leaving anything out. I'm not thinking about. I'm trying to think anything lately that I have been playing. No, okay. I don't know why I had Zhang Kui up at A+. He's definitely not A+. I'd actually throw him in probably A right now. Probably the strongest mage solo. Just very, very good. He kind of fits that bill right now that you need, where you need a tanky character initiating a fight, starting a fight for you that's actually diving the backline and absorbing damage so that your jungler can go in there and kill their OP mages. And that's something that Zhang Kui can definitely do. Build path is very good for him right now. The flat pen items are good, obviously. That goes without saying, and Zhang can build that. The lifesteal items are good with like Pythags, Typhons. You can go that build path, which I always love on Zhang. You can go like the Celestial build path, and in late game get that Jade Emperor's Crown, which is very, very strong in this upcoming patch. So definitely think that he's probably the best mage solo right now and very, very viable. And another thing about Zhang is that he wins lane really easily. He bullies most matchups, so that gives your teammates a lane to play off of in your ranked games. So I believe that is every viable solo laner right now. You know, there's maybe like 5 to 10 characters that you could throw in here, and you know, you can make them work in solo, but that's not what I'm going to be recommending to you guys to play it in ranked right now. So let me know what you guys think of my list. I think there's some arguments for maybe some characters moving up a little bit, and I think maybe even like Achilles, maybe even like Cabrakan could move up to S. But this is what I think going into this new patch with nerf berserkers and buff Jade Emperor's Crown. Lots of changes for our role, not gonna lie. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list, enjoyed what I had to say about your characters. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you disagree with my opinion, then you're wrong. And that's all it is. It's just simple as that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the tier list. Let me know what you guys want to see next. If you guys have any ideas for like some educational videos, educational content, what you guys want to see, or what you guys want to learn about soloing or about any role. I've been off-rolling a ton in ranked, and I've been enjoying it a lot. So if you guys want to see a tier list for another role or see educational videos about these other roles, then let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I love you all with all of my heart. I love you so deeply. So yeah, stay safe and healthy as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.